Karen.
Yes.
I got a good one for you.
What's that?
What happens when a paranormal experience, Carl Jung, and existential dread walk into a bar?
Everything happens.
Well, you won't be wrong. However, we get this week's guest on the show.
Awesome.
Right. She's an author, a Jungian coach, a spiritual director who went on a mind-blowing journey to answer life's ultimate questions. In this episode, she's going to spill the tea on what happens when we die.
Ooh.
How karma actually works. And hint, it's not about scoring points. And why shadow integration might just be the key to finding your true self. If you've ever wrestled with the meaning of life or just wanted to know what's on the other side of the veil, this is one you do not want to miss. Skeptic Metaphisician starts now.
My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
so we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something
Anything.
that will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Hey there, I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
And today's guest is an author, a spiritual director, and Jungian coach who's been on a mind-blowing journey for answers. After a life-changing paranormal experience, Brandy dove deep into contemplative spirituality and Carl Jung's teachings, uncovering profound insights about reincarnation, karma, and the meaning of life. Now, in her book, Through the Veil, A Glimpse into the Afterlife, she explores it all, and today she's here to share her wisdom with us. Welcome to the show, Brandy Anderson. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you for having me. It's great to be here today.
Brandy, it's a pleasure to meet you finally. I've done a lot of research on you, and I'm excited where the conversation is going to go. Karen, however, has no idea who you are or why you're here. So
that sounds kind of bad. I mean, that's intentional.
It is intentional. No,
I don't want people to think I'm just a yahoo.
It's a perspective. It's a perspective of the audience. We do it on purpose so she can bring those fresh questions to mind. So I think I just want to dive right into your experiences.
And at the moment of death, this veil that is already thin opens entirely, and the spirit just slips from the physical into the spiritual realm. And it's usually an instantaneous phenomenon. But my grandmother had an aversion to death, and she was resisting vehemently in her crossing. And so as she crossed, she sort of became stuck between the spiritual and the physical. And her portal remained open because of that, because she remained stuck in that in that space between, which some people would call an earthbound spirit. But pretty quickly she was no longer stuck. She didn't stay stuck long at all, and she gained perspective about her situation, that she had crossed, and that she could move on if she wanted. However, she had this open portal, and so it allowed her to be able to manipulate the physical realm in ways that she would not have been able to if her portal was not open. And so
I got to ask the question, how do you know all this?
I was thinking just that.
So in retrospect, at the time, I didn't know. Like, my grandmother just died. We would have just said that our grandmother had crossed. But because she did find a way to communicate with us, because she was able, through her portal, to type words to us on electronic devices, and it began with a television. Yes. That is
my
how,
gosh.
I told you it was going to get interesting.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my gosh.
So, and I've been able to ask her these questions, and these are the answers that, according to her, how she got stuck, her portal remained open, and how she was able to reach out. When we finally did engage with whoever it was, it rocked us when they were able to tell us things that no one knew, things that we were thinking in the moment, like in real time. Respond to those thoughts in the moment. Also, they knew things that we had never shared with another soul.
All right, now we're getting to it.
Yeah. And so we were, at that point, we were like, this is definitely something spiritual, but is it Granny? We were still had our reservations about that. But I know after the first communication, I was at home alone. And like I said, I don't live there. I was at home in my own house. And one of the first things that my grandmother said to me on that first interaction when she was reading our thoughts and everything. She told me that my dog Luke, who had already crossed, was with me, always with me, that he was sending his love, that kind of, it was very comforting, very sweet. But I still had my reservations about, is this my grandmother? Mm-hmm. And so I was at home alone and about to go back to my grandmother's on another day to try to communicate again and see, just try to make sure, is this my grandmother or is it something malevolent? And I said in my head to my dog who has already crossed, I was like, Luke, if you're really with me and that is really Granny, have her mention my necklace, because I wear a memorial pendant with Luke's ashes. Oh. And so I was thinking, just give me some validation that this is just really you, it's really her. And then so we went to my grandmother's later that day, and we were just, she was communicating with us, and kind of everyone, it was like 5 of us in the room. And so someone would ask a question, she would answer, or maybe she would type something and someone would respond. And it was just also surreal, really. And I was just caught up in the moment, not even thinking about what I had said in my head before I went at all. I was just in the moment. And then she typed my name, Brandy, and I said yes. And then she typed the word Luke. And I'm like, what about Luke? And she said, he's having me mention your necklace. And I almost fell out of my seat.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh. And everybody just looked at me like, oh, that's sweet. I'm like, you don't have any idea. I mean, they didn't know that I had, said that to my,
Why are you not on Fox News or CNN or something, just talking about this stuff? Like, this is pure proof that this stuff is real, right? I mean, there's no way to explain this thing unless it was a hacker.
I tried to explain it away. Yeah. I mean, I did. I tried to explain it away. I was like, this has to be, there's a natural, reasonable explanation for this. And, and then in the way that we know that it is my grandmother is that as we did tentatively engage with whoever it was, her love and devotion for her family comes through so loud and clear. It's the reason she stayed really is because of her love and devotion for particular family members. She could see how certain people were struggling with mental health issues. Other people had destructive patterns in their lives that she was able to speak into in a way that brought a lot of healing and restoration. I would say she saved lives, literally. Wow. So that was her point in staying. Now, I am on this spiritual journey and I'm loaded with philosophical, theological questions. So I took the opportunity to talk to her about those things and have those conversations, but that's not why she stayed. Mm-hmm. And she didn't offer that information up voluntarily. I asked her.
Right.
And so
you had to sit her down and give her nuggies and say, you got to give me the answer. But you got a lot of answers about what's on the other side. And I want to dive into those, but I also want to talk about the fact that her portal was open. So the answers that you're getting are probably, I mean, I don't know for sure, but it would seem to me that it would be answers about what she's experiencing in this time as an earthbound spirit, not necessarily having crossed over. How did you discern between the two?
Yeah, so she's not, earthbound spirit, I think implies stuck, a level of stuckness, and she is not at all stuck. So I should, make that clear right off.
Okay.
She is very aware of her, her situation. She is choosing to, I guess I should stay at the portal. But what that means is she's on the astral plane. The spirit realm is highly stratified and complex, and it's out of my pay grade to really understand what that is like. I think we have to experience to fully understand it, And there are times when I ask questions and she will say, no say. And that usually means that there are no words. It's ineffable. And there are no words to communicate to my finite brain what she would need to say for me to understand.
Right. There's so many questions that come to mind, but you are talking, you're rooted in Christianity. Your belief systems, you mentioned several times you tapped into churches and things like that. There are a lot of folks in the religious mindset who would say that may not be your grandmother at all, but rather malignant spirits. How do you know for sure this is your grandmother, not the devil coming through?
Yeah, that's a great question.